All right, all right, all right, all right. Woo! Feels good to be back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, idealists and visionaries, I'm your boy Ideal Tone, and I'm here to make it known that we are back with another episode, and I do mean another episode, and it is a spinoff of Binge or Cringe, The Godfather and The Vet. So we about to get to it. I am your boy
We're
Ideal
still
Tone.
unsure. We're still unsure who's the Godfather and who's the vet. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
come on, bro. We already know you're the Godfather. I'm the vet. I'm the vet.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm just saying, Kobalt. Stop denying what it is already. Stop denying. Just embrace the Godfather.
Just be.
Just embrace it. Enjoy it.
Just be.
Yes.
Just be.
But as always, you know what it is. I'm your boy Ideal Tone, and I am joined by Kobalt 70, and we're gonna be doing this, guys. Like I said, this is episode 2 of the Binge or Cringe spinoff. Episode 1 we did really well, so we're going to continue to do it. It was something that we were just trying, but we enjoyed it, and granted, it's something new, so it hasn't really gotten as much motion as Binge or Cringe yet. But I feel like that's not gonna be something that's gonna be that's not gonna happen for long. I feel like eventually, like, oh, they got something else to do with Binge or Cringe. And plus, like, as I said in episode 1, and Kobo definitely backed me up on it. This version of Binge or Cringe is literally about me and Kobo really talking about anime that not many people have seen. And I know that we both have. So
yeah, we spend a lot of our time, picking the anime we pick to cover. Usually, it really covers the more broad group of people. So everyone in our group has seen it, but there's thousands of animes that we've seen that we know they've never even heard of.
Exactly.
And so it's really about taking the time to expose everyone to those grades.
Yeah, so without further ado, oh, great. Trying to do this, and then my food is about to be here. But that's okay. It's a live stream. I don't really care. It is what it is. I'll probably step off and grab my food in like 5 seconds, but that's all right with me. But yeah, so I'm just going to kick it off. Today's topics are air gear and kaito. I'm gonna just say, forget it. I can never say the K part. I'm gonna just say Hitman Reborn. I think it's what's the K part? I can never say it. It's that's one Japanese word that always
Katieko Hitman Reborn.
If that's how you say it,
I believe so. That's how I've been saying it for like 10 years. Could be wrong. Someone could come and correct me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, but either way, the bottom line is it's called Hitman Reborn. So that's where we're at for that. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Kobo, start just giving them a rundown about air gear. That's where we're going to start.
All right, we're going to start with air gear?
Yeah.
All right. Air gear is sort of an anime that came out at a time when rollerblading was really popular. And it's a little bit of a spin on the rollerblading aspect in that the rollerblades themselves have small motors included in them that allow the rider to become super fast. And it's sort of a stylized world that these people live in, and they ride around their rollerblades on literally all over the city. It's almost like parkour, where they're trying to spend as much time in the air as they can on these rollerblades. It's a beautifully animated series, and even as someone who's always kind of disliked rollerblades, because I was a skateboarder back in the day, skateboarders, rollerbladers didn't really get along. But I loved the anime, and I felt like the story itself was entertaining.
All right, I'm back
enough to keep everyone interested. I was just giving the rundown of what the story is about. You know, the rollerblades, the powered
Yeah.
rollerblade.
So
You know,
it's definitely something different in when it comes to anime. And if I'm not mistaken, if I'm just gonna be plain out there, there's a bunch of different anime genres. Like you have isekais, you have battle and you have battle anime, you have shonen anime, you have harem, you have ecchi, you have um yeah, you have, I'm just naming a bunch of random. You have mechs, you have sport anime. For me, I feel like this one definitely borders battle anime and sports anime. It's like a combination. It's right in the middle. If I'm not mistaken, that's just the preface. That's just the vibe I get from it when you watch it.
that's a good assessment. That's a good assessment. It really is. It does kind of bridge that gap. You know.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so Air Gear is definitely it, and Air Gear is an older anime. It's not one of the biggest anime to ever do it, but but it is what it is. Oh, Null's in the comment. Hey, Null. Yes, we're doing another episode, Null. You mean we need you in here? No, you've never seen Air Gear, as far as I know. Have you seen Air Gear, Null?
Oh, he's absolutely not seen Eric.
Yeah, then no, I'm sorry. This is not a table for you, my buddy. This is not a
Don't
table
let
for
the
you, my
fact
boy.
that it's a sports anime throw you off, though. It is action packed,
For
and
sure. For
it's
sure.
got a great story behind it, and really some good life lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Something I think anime always excels at.
Definitely.
Teaching better way to deal with everyday problems that kids tend to run into. You know, bullying, feelings of inadequacy, love interests. You know how these kids handle growing up. It gives like a nice template to them on how to handle some of the more complex issues that parents never really address.
Yeah.
You know,
And the anime is way deeper than you realize when you're first watching it. At first, you think like these are just some kids having fun, battling each other with these ATs and blah 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 blah. So what the who that?
you know, as a series, it was one of those series where the story started out small and light and entertaining. But then,
Right.
as it grew, it became more beautiful. And it's rare to run into an anime that actually gets better with time.
Yeah.
And that
So
was one that absolutely did.
yeah, we have a guest joining us, I believe. Is that you, Dom?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Hey, Dom.
Hey, Reed.
Hey, Dom.
Yeah,
Hey.
we don't mind you stopping by. We just wasn't expecting you yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw that it was on YouTube, and I'm just like, oh snap!
No. You so the new episode of Binge or Cringe, the regular one is at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you got time. You good.
Oh my god. Oh. Okay. All right. Then I'll see y'all back at 8.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Oh wait, Null said I'm gonna watch it now. What is it called? LOL. And I've watched Haiku. It's called Air Gear, Null. It's called Air Gear. Air Gear is really good. I definitely recommend it. And then like it is a lot more to it than what the anime shows you. Because unfortunately they never finished the anime. They have OVAs and everything, which you really have to search for them at this point, I believe.
Well, they came out, the OVA, there were 3 OVAs, and they came out several years later.
Yeah. Yeah, and you definitely have to find them now. I believe you could watch Air Gear on Hulu, I believe.
Hulu. It's a classic Funimation, so
yeah,
you definitely can find it.
Yeah, but the OVAs you have to definitely go like on the internet to find them. And they do tie in, but I will say there are gaps for the OVAs. The OVAs don't fill in where the gaps are for you guys after the initial anime is over. For you to fill in those gaps, you have to read the manga, which I will be 100% honest. The manga is a perfectly good read. It really is. And it ties in all that info, especially since like it dives dark. It dives into a darker set of what the AT world actually came from. You know, because you got the regalia and everything, and they really go in depth of what the regalia really are and everything. It's a lot. Not to mention how wild and crazy. Which all right. So there's the bottom line is, Kobalt, I don't know if you said this already. They have the AT world is based off this thing called the Tropium or something like that, where you got to get to the top, and there are a bunch of different roads that lead to the top. And when they mean by roads, it's like more like elemental roads. So you got fire, you got lightning, you got the Fang road, you got the storm road, you got the sky road. There's a bunch of different things like that, right? And and it's just basically like the way you develop your abilities with the ATs, which eventually, once you become a king of one of those roads, you battle the current king, or you can battle the current king for the regalia, which gives you even more power with those abilities. It's a whole type of thing. And with that being said, with the abilities, there's a darker, more understanding to it of where the regalia came from. And there's this really big guild where all the kings actually, the original, there's a clan, or what do they call it? Clans or groups? I can't remember.
They called them. They were gangs. They were like little like biker gangs, but they were for Ergir. And you did have one gang that all the old schoolers were part of.
Yeah, the original kings. It was called Sleeping Forest.
It exists, but only in myth and in the current day.
Yeah,
he doesn't find out until later in the story that it's what happened with it and where all the members went, what happened, and it really ties into the end of the story. So you only get glimpses in the beginning of it. What you find out right away is that his sisters, or the sisters that he lived, the girls that he lives with, which were actually just people that weren't related, but basically were raising him after his parents disappeared, I believe. And they end up being three of them are actually members of this legendary group, and
that are newer members too.
You get it like they're not really that new. One of them is, I think, it's been 10 years since I've watched this.
So not to give away too much, but there were two different variations of Sleeper Forest. The original Sleeping Forest had all the kings in it for every road, and they were the most powerful gang. They were. But what happened was they were betrayed by one of the kings in the group, and they splintered off. And then a new Sleeping Forest kit rose up to take its place. And that's the current. Yeah, and that's the current Sleeping Forest. Yeah, that's how it panned out.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to that story on.
It definitely is a little more. I'm not going to dive in too much into it because I don't want to ruin it. But
as an anime, they did capture the essence of flight with the air gears, quite well.
No, it's just like the different tricks and things you could do. It's really cool. It's entertaining, and when I say entertaining, it's entertaining in that aspect, but it's entertaining in the form of there is a really big comedic aspect to it.
I always wonder, because it aired against some of the best anime in 2006. I mean, you had like every one of the anime that it was airing with is one that you've heard of and you've probably seen all of. Right. You had the Bleaches, you had the Narutos, obviously, but you had a bunch of other smaller ones that took place as well, and it stacked up against them. But they never went on to do more seasons of it, and I always wondered why, because it was absolutely one of the best anime out at the time.
And not to mention, the manga had one of the longest runs in manga history. If I'm not mistaken, they did over 400 chapters.
37 volumes, and it went from 2002 all the way to 2012. But I'd like to add that I believe there was a hiatus
There was.
prior. I believe the 2012 was him finishing the story.
Hmm.
You know, I believe they took like 2 or 3 years off. I
They,
don't remember the whole
if
situation
I'm
of
not
how it
mistaken,
went
I believe
down.
the author he reached a point where he wasn't feeling too well and he needed time. But I think he,
Well, you know how they ride
yeah,
their artists, yeah.
yeah. But he came back with a vengeance, finished out the story. It did over 300 or 400 chapters, if I'm not mistaken. Like it ended so well. It ended so well.
You do know that who created Air Gear is Oh Great, right?
Yeah.
The same guy who did Tengo Tenjin, Burn Up Excess, Burn Up W, Majin Devil, Naked Star. There's a
Oh
couple.
wow, yeah, I forgot about Majin Devil. Yeah, so
That was one of his more recent ones. I believe Naked Star's got to be his newest one, I suppose.
is
That's
it?
the one I haven't heard of.
Mm. But yeah, but Air Gear is definitely a great watch, great read. So do both. Um, uh, I would probably watch the anime and then read, or and read at the same time, only because it'll let you know where you need to continue on from after the anime ends. Which, and then the main character Icky, my man is on some other stuff. My man is on some other stuff. He don't.
Before he even gets on the Air Gears, he's running his own gang.
Yeah, and not to mention, like once he gets on the air gear, his mind is on the battles and everything, but never really truly on the battles. He's always looking to the sky, which is something that everybody admires in him. And you'll see what I mean
Yeah,
by that.
initially he has no interest in the politics of the game that he's involved in.
Yeah,
He just wants to ride and wants to fly, and he's the problem with him is he's reaching for the stars.
hmm,
He has no interest in the politics, but they constantly stand within his way as he's trying to get higher and higher. You know,
right. So, with that being said, I mean, it's definitely a good watch. So, if I had to give Air Gear a ranking, I definitely give it a strong 7 out of 10.
fuck. I'm giving it an 8, and I
Okay.
hate. Remember, I'd like to reiterate. I think rollerblading is lame.
I think that's why you're giving it an 8 though, because it made you enjoy it though, despite the fact that it was rollerblading involved.
Correction. I don't think it's lame. I thought it was lame when I was a skateboarder in like the 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have no opinion on it. You know, it's
Right.
no different from skateboarding, riding a scooter. You know, anything that you could do something cool with, do it. Who cares what people think? And I'm glad that people wouldn't take my advice on that because I'm a fool. Definitely give it a watch. Let's
I'm a
move.
fool.
Moving on.
Yes. Moving on. This one is okay. Before, let's just say Hitman Reborn. Hitman Reborn is one of the classic anime. And to the point where I'm not gonna say it probably wasn't a big three, but it had the potential to be a big three. It was in the top 5 at the time it was airing, and it was up there with what, especially in the manga charts, it was up there with Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. Like it was a show and a manga at its peak for its time, and it was different from the others. So different. Like,
I mean, we have a different opinion on this. I absolutely consider it one of the top 3s of its time.
it was competing against it. Well, I was okay. If I say top 3, top 3s, top 3, yes. But when I say top 3, I was thinking like when it comes to mainstream and everybody considering who the big 3 are, everybody considers the big 3 as a consensus: Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto at that time.
See, I always had Hitman Reborn above One Piece, and I'll tell you why. Although, like now, you look at it and obvious that One Piece is it for you guys and for your generation. But when it was airing, it was nowhere near as popular as Hitman Reborn was.
Yeah, and I agree with that. That's why I said it was battling for those spots.
No, it was big 3 until probably around 2010, and the kids growing up with anime. One Piece had just started up again a few years before and was finally going again. You know,
Yeah.
and it also got aired in the perfect slot for kids to watch. So One Piece won out, and by 2015, everyone was watching One Piece. You know, everyone was into that, and Hitman Reborn kind of fell to the wayside because it was a forgotten anime at that point.
It wasn't even that it was just forgotten. It just they never continued. They never finished it. Only because
Yeah.
they really truly caught up with the manga really fast.
They did, and the thing is that was at that period where they still hadn't found the balance yet. And I mean, you ran into this at that time period with, or even before then, with animes like Full Metal Alchemist, where the studio caught up to the manga and then actually had to create its own ending because it couldn't sit there and wait for the manga to keep going.
Exactly.
Nowadays, what you'll get is they'll space it out in a way that allows them to do that. You know.
Yep.
But at the time, they didn't. There was no cooperation. The manga, if it had been super successful at the start, they would make an anime out of it, and it would catch up so quick that a lot of times animes would get halfway through the story and then just drop off. That's what happened with Reborn. But what happened with Full Metal Alchemist is the studio made up its own ending. Now, you can argue whether Brotherhood picks up at, I think, episode 26, 27 of the OG Full Metal and carries on and continues the story because they created it after the manga had finished.
Yeah, I don't like the original run.
You see, a lot of people like the original one over the Brotherhood run. Personally, I love them both. I think the studio did a phenomenal job with just the notes that they were given by the author at the time.
Mm-hmm. Now, because if I had, or wait, which one was Brotherhood again? Which one was the one where they eventually fought Father?
That was Brotherhood.
That was Brother. Yeah, that I enjoyed that because they really came to. It was a lot more going on, and there was a lot more for you to understand of why things were happening.
He had to build up the epic story of his father's past, and I don't think that they were able to truly build that whole part out with the studio. So they left it where it was. And
yeah. But we're getting on topic, though. We're getting on topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
another great anime, but
yeah, but we're Reborn. Reborn is literally set place in Tokyo, but there's a whole the author is influenced by Italian culture, as in Italian mafiosos. So, which is, and there's different, and he builds on that with like the main character. His name is Suna, and he's not just Japanese; he also has Italian blood. And what happens is, he comes from a family a mafia family, which his dad is tied to, called the Vangoli. The Vangoli, but with that happening is he is selected as one of the candidates for Vangoli Decimo.
Yeah.
So
basically the 10th iteration of the leader of the Vangoli.
Yeah, family. So he's the 10th boss. Or he's one of the candidates for the 10th boss, which I believe there were one or two others, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, you had a couple others, but there were quite a few others, and then it got narrowed down.
Mm-hmm.
And you really only had two that were big within the family itself. I think.
So you had two actual possibilities for the Vangoli Decimo, which Suna, as he realized. Like, when it first starts, he meets this little kid, who at this time, we're at the beginning, like, who is this little child, this baby called Reborn? This guy is actually his tutor to teach him to become a successful mafioso boss. Which Suna, when first meeting this kid, Suna is a wimp. He's a punk. He's a bum.
No good Suna.
No good Suna. There's nothing good about him except his good personality. Like, he's bad at school. He's a pushover. He's scared of everybody and everything. Like, my man is not Decimo material at all. He's not a Vangoli boss material at all for a mafioso. For a mafia. Decimo. But what happens is he meets Reborn, and Reborn starts training him, and teaching him like this is what you do, and it's really goofy and quirky in the beginning, the way he's getting him to overcome his fears and get out of his shell and blah 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 blah. But then soon, what happens is slowly but surely he starts gaining abilities through being and interacting with Reborn and the different mafioso bosses and yada yada yada.
Building his family.
Yeah.
A big part of it is building the family as well.
Yeah,
and really
building his immediate family for the mafioso's boss. His people, the people that he would come to depend on to protect him and the rest of the family. Which at a certain point, does he really need protection?
Right. But I like the way that they took something that it has a lot of order and structure to it, but let's be honest, any connotations with the mafia are going to be nefarious in their origin.
Exactly.
But Japanese culture loves to take things like that and put their spin on it. And the way that they spun this out, Reborn spends a lot of time teaching him lessons of manhood, stand up for yourself, do what's right, respect people,
exactly.
And that's a big one. Respect and honor were things that were big in obviously the Italian mafioso, but for far different reasons than Suna and his friends have that view.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's building up his family, really what it is, it's him building up friends.
Exactly.
And a family that of people not only that he relies on, but that can rely on him, and that they make this journey of life together, like a lot of kids do with their friends, and you get to see him from being a preteen kind of pushover pussy to a 15 more assured young adult as he's going into his young adulthood and the path that he has before him.
Right. And as he progresses through this, there comes a point where, all right, so just to break it down, not to say too much, but every time the Reborn has this magical gecko that turns into a gun or whatever, and when he would shoot Suna with this I can never say the name.
Dying wish.
This death flame bullet, it would basically seem like Suna was dead, but he would come back with a vengeance, with super strength, abilities, and everything like that. But it was more of an enraged state, not rage really.
Hold on. Let me drop this because I literally just watched the explanation, and what it is he has a dying wish bullet, and what happens is it obviously kills the ego of Suna, and he thinks of his last dying wish, and then it turns off all the limiters in his body, and he gains super strength, super speed, and has the will to do what he wanted to do if that was his last moment on Earth.
Exactly.
And they call it his dying will.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how Reborn triggers this. But he has these innate abilities already. Reborn is just bringing it out of him with a bullet that speeds up the process. Later on, he learns to encompass this on his own.
Yeah, but we're getting ahead. We're getting ahead.
Yep.
But the next thing is there's two different versions of this state. You have the more outer limit breaking state, which it removes all limiters from the body, and he's more aggressive. But then you have the state, which is my favorite, the calm collected state, which brings all his limiters within and makes him more aware of his surroundings and still boosts his combat ability, but in a different way. Like, my man is observant. My man can see through illusions. My man, he's still fast. He's able, and not to mention, he gets his weapons, which are like these gloves, which brings out the flame from his body and his hands. I mean, forget about it. My man can fly and everything.
One of the coolest artistic cosmetics in in anime history in my hands.
Yes.
Like, I loved those gloves as a kid. Growing up, I was like, that art is insane. I drew it at least 100 times, and yeah,
It's just and then the thought behind it. Like, what made you think battle gloves? Like, but it's cool. It's so cool. Like, definitely cool. What made you think that? But like the gloves help bring out the rest of his abilities that he can use. And then he just love. Then as the story goes through on, he learns all the different abilities and everything. And then he has a and then because he is part of the bloodline of the Vangoli family. He has the innate ability to go back into his ancestral past and bring out the innate abilities of the past ancestors. Like, for one, the zero
you're
deprivation.
getting way ahead of yourself right now. You know that, right?
No, I'm not getting too hip because remember he figured out how to use the zero state on his own with the Vangoli blood before he even met the past ancestors.
That's true. That's true. I remember it's 203 episodes or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just stuff like that, and then as he continues to like unlock his ancestral history and everything, he just gains more abilities and powers and everything. It's a lot, and not to mention like the rest of his familia. They start getting stronger and leveling up and everything too.
It was a perfect mix of comedy, good fighting, and then slice of life. Like the way anime was done at that time, it fit a beautiful mold of anime. These days, you get one leaning in one direction or the other. This one encompassed it all.
Exactly. I'll be honest with you, it has some of the most beautiful scenes and artwork in anime I've ever seen, especially when it comes to fighting. Like, and don't get me wrong, it's the way it looks is definitely not where the graphics are nowadays for anime, but it was great for its time.
Oh, you're still gonna get incredible animation. It's really the only difference, if you look at it, is the eyes. The way they did eyes back then, they had more of a comical view. You know, I mean, Hunter x Hunter is the same sort of thing where you get animation that's top quality, but their eyeballs are straight Disney. You know? But they switch back and forth. Obviously, when he's in serious mode, his eyes look normal anime style. But everyday slice of life look, they're Disney eyes. All right, they're Disney eyes. But this anime, this is high on my list, bro. Real high on my list. I put this above some of the animes that you would put in your top 10. I put behind Hitman.
All I'm saying is, it's definitely, if I have to give Hitman a rating, definitely 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. 9 out of 10. And you will hear this maybe 5 times in every of the hundreds of episodes we will do. You will only hear this a handful of times. 9 out of 10, very few have that.
Yeah. And not to mention, and this is why we and Kobalt chose to do this one. The rumors are in Japan right now, and it's really high. This may be 100% true. What that, because they have pop-up shops and Twitter, a new Twitter account, and everything. Hitman Reborn is supposed to be making a comeback.
When we were discussing anime to do for this episode, the moment Reborn was mentioned, we both knew we had it. We knew we had that episode, and we were gonna wrap it on. Air Gear, huge anime. Reborn, one of the top 5 greatest animes.
Yes, Reborn, it just has everything, and it's not something that you wouldn't enjoy watching. Truthfully, and let's be real. The manga is finished. Manga's been finished for a long while now, a couple of years.
Almost a decade now.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
With that,
the manga finished in 2012.
Yeah, the manga's been finished for a while. So they have about 2 to 3 more arcs left for the anime. And if they continue where they left off for the anime, the next 2 to 3 arcs is going to be phenomenal. And I truly mean that. Like they're going to
Oh
be
yeah.
wonderful. I can't wait. I hope this rumor of Reborn actually making a comeback is true, because they have a new Japan Twitter account for it. They did like 5 pop-up shops in Japan for promotions, and then there's even a speculation that someone wrote that it's coming back along with Bleach not too long after. So, hey Noel, you're a little early, my brother. Is that Noel? I know that's Noel. Nullified.
I'm not here.
Oh.
Okay. But yeah, no, we're gonna wrap this up. Kobalt, you got anything to say about the 2 before we get out of here, man?
Absolutely. Both these animes, they slip through the cracks. A lot of kids haven't seen them. I know some of you have probably heard of Hitman and heard of Air Gear and skipped over it. I'm telling you right now, if you're looking for an old school anime to enjoy, those 2 are probably the best choices I could give you.
Exactly.
All right. I mean, in terms of just entertainment, they're top tier anime. Absolutely.
Phenomenal.
And
seriously.
And I would love for both those series to get the completion that they deserve. And at the same time, go read the mangas of both these because they're fantastic.
No, they're super fantastic. And like I said, like Hitman Reborn, it just gets better and better. Whereas Air Gear gets better, but you really start getting a feel for the darkness of that anime, which there is a darker side to it from what you start seeing from the beginning.
So, and surprisingly, it's a much more gritty anime than Reborn.
Yeah,
Air Gear is for sure.
So definitely give both a read, both a look, both a watch. The animes and the manga will blow you away. But that's really it. So we're gonna get out of here and stay tuned. We'll be back in like no more than 10 minutes with the next segment, which will be the original Binge or Cringe series. All right. And we'll be doing it for Black History Month. Power to the people. So stay tuned for that. But without further ado, I'm your boy Ideal Tone, and I just made that known, and we are out of here.